Welcome to the second episode of Cozy Crafternoon. This is a 3-part video series where I'm going to walk you through how to make 3 different 3D paintings of the national parks that you can turn into art for your walls. If you want to learn more about the design aspect, you can click here to go start at the first video in this series. The first part focused on the design aspect, and this part will focus on the painting technique portion. This craft is designed for all skill levels. You can make it as abstract or as realistic as you'd like. So these outlines are meant to be more so guidelines and suggestions, but I fine-tuned the settings with the score option on my Glowforge so that you can still paint over them if you'd like. They become super faint with more and more layers of paint so that you can change around the design to fit your style. So as we create this piece together, I'll pop in to give you some of my pro tips to save you time and make your pieces as beautiful as possible. I create all of my pieces from the back forward, so my first pro tip is to sketch out the next layer on top so that you only paint where you need to, and you don't spend time making beautiful details that just get covered up by the next layer. My next tip has to do with creating the illusion of atmosphere. So I use lighter, cooler, and less saturated colors towards the back, and then warmer, darker, and more saturated colors towards the front to highlight the atmosphere that comes with the depth of a 3D piece like this. As you're going through each layer and increasing your contrast, this is how I layer my colors to get you started. So I create 3 shades, a midtone, shadow, and highlight, and then I start in with the midtone. I go back and forth between adding shadows and highlights until it's in its final form, but I always add highlights last. So at this point in the video, I'm going to slow down and really show you for that top layer how much detail I add so that you can see all of these tips and layering techniques come together. Now, when it comes to assembly, you can do it a few ways. My favorite is foam strips, especially with this Sequoia piece, but you can also opt for boning strips that you cut from your Glowforge as well out of draft board. One of the things that you'll notice is that the water can kind of warp the artboard a little bit, so this part of the process is what corrects that. You can flatten your work between layers to really help correct that slight bend, or you can just leave it if it doesn't really bother you. And then for that final framed look, it's time to add your Glowforge cut frame. Mine is made with cherry proof grade, and then I just adhere the layers together before placing the painting in against that backing board. You can choose to permanently adhere it or do something more temporary, but the finished look is really beautiful. Another optional addition that you can add is to put in a layer of clear acrylic. And just like that, another finished piece has come together. So you can move on to part 3 or hop back over to part 1.